now south I-55. Gonna take a little scenic drive down Interstate 49. Just looking for a good time. Better buy another case of beer, 'cause you know you're gonna need it here. Time to go. Yeah, we're gonna start the show. It's time to call your friends.
Man, we are gonna have some fun today. Well, we're gonna show you. This is fantastic here. Big old smallmouth, Eagle Lake, Century Lodge. Look at this thing. I'm gonna take my time. That is just a big old smallmouth right there. That is just a big old smallmouth. All right, take your time, buddy. Come here. Let's see. Come here. Come here. Look at this. Look at this beast here. Come here. Come here. Don't. If I can get you in, for crying out loud. Gotcha. Holy cow, look at that thing. I am telling you what. Folks, you're going to love this week's show. We're up at Century Lodge, and what we're going to do, well, I'll put this fish back and then I'll tell you. Here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to give you some horizontal options when fish are moving up shallow and show you how you can cover water and be more effective. That first one just came on a good old storm subboard. Don't miss this episode. It's going to be awesome.
Deep on you too.
Yes.
Nice fish there. Good job, buddy.
Not hooked real good. Let's get the net on this one. And we'll bring him over to you. See, he's not hooked real good.
Good fish there.
There we go.
There you go. Nice job, man.
He hit it pretty hard.
Oh, man.
There she is. There she is. Take a look at that.
Beautiful.
It is. Look at the colors on those. Excellent. Green. Nice. All right.
This segment of Hook and Hunt TV is brought to you by Covercraft, car covers, seat covers, sunscreens, floor mats. Covercraft, protection for whatever you drive.
All right, here's what we're doing. We're running rock piles. This is a bite that we came across like right after dinner. Now the sun's been warming all day and these big smallmouth are starting to move into the shallows, getting ready to spawn. So you can see the rock piles right there behind me. What we're doing is we're running these real quick with horizontal presentations. I'm throwing a subboard, Kirk's throwing that subwalk, maybe even throwing a chatterbait. What we're doing is we're hitting a bunch of spots, basically making a milk run. We're keeping the baits moving, not fast, constant retrieve, and these big females that are moving up after all day and that water's warmed, we're getting maybe 1 or 2 fish a spot. That's something you may want to consider when you come up to Century Lodge at the end of May, beginning of June. This is a pattern that works year after year like this, and it's a chance for you to catch some really, really big fish. Also baits like topwaters, like a skitter pop or like a spinner bait, things like that, especially when you got a little breeze, that can really put some big fish in boat. Don't forget that pattern. It might be one of the biggest fish you have on your trip. Look at that, man. Man, this is so much fun. This is so much fun. And they're so big all the time. Come here. Look at this fish in. I want to show you something here, folks, about what we're doing here. Ah, he's not done yet. Come here. Yeah. Oh, another good one. Look at that beautiful fish right there. Okay, let's show you something. I don't know how many fish we've caught on. That's just fantastic. Okay, so you've heard us talk about a Laztec before. I don't know how many smallmouth we've caught on this. I've caught walleyes on this and caught pike on it. Now, this is the first diesel minnow of the Laztec that I've taken out of the package for this trip. I'm not switching it. I'm not just telling you that. Walleye, pike, and a bunch of smallmouth, the same trailer. And now it's time for your Nord Outdoor Power Tip of the Week.
Hi, this is Doug from Nord Outdoor Power. Hey, our tip of the week is about chainsaw chain. We get a lot of people come in and they say, hey, is it just all compatible across the board? Well, yes and no. You got to know your pitch, gauge, number of drivers. This is a really thin new quarter pitch chain. It's really made to give a nice fine cut, and where you got small branches, it really works good. But our primary ones are going to be quarter, 3/8 pico, 325, and 404. Then we get into the depth gauges and how thick they are and the number of drivers. So make sure and know your information when you go to get a new chain.
And that was your Nord Outdoor Power Tip of the Week. Hook up with my outdoor power source at nordpower.com.
Oh, look at the size of this thing. Oh yeah. Beautiful fish there, man. Look at the size of this guy. I'll tell you what, one of the best horizontal presentations you can have after a cold front, besides throwing a crankbait, is throwing a chatterbait. Look at that thing. Look at that. That's a 5-pound fish right there. That's a beautiful smallmouth. Oh, this pattern has been absolutely fantastic. That's that jackhammer. Besides catching them on a bunch of Rapala baits, everything on this episode that we're doing is to show you how to catch fish on horizontal presentations. Everything is shallow, but they're moving up, getting ready to spawn, moving those baits slowly, but it's those horizontal presentations hitting a milk run of spot after spot after spot. By doing that, you put the odds in your favor, and this is what can happen. Absolutely fantastic. Put that fish back. Go ahead, honey. See ya. There he is. There he is. Another good one there. Man, he hammered that thing, man. Oh, look at that. Oh, good fish there. Big. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Absolutely fantastic. Come here. Yeah. Another really good fish. Really good fish. Nice. Look, they are starting to get up on the nest. You're starting to get a little red on the tail there. Cool. Hey, one thing I do need to tell you. So how we're working the bait, all right? Besides not just casting out and reeling it in, I've got a high gear ratio reel on here, and we'll go a little bit more into the techniques in a little bit. But what I'm doing is I'm basically slow rolling that jackhammer just like you would a spinnerbait. The water temperature is still cold, all right? It got up yesterday, good, it got up to 60, but then it got down to 35 again last night. So again, we're running these rock piles later in the day after dinner, and there's a reason for that. The sun has actually been warming the water back up again. So as we hit these small islands that you see behind us, these small rocks like this, these pre-spawn smallmouth are moving up. They're getting ready to spawn. Also, there's food up there. Bonus. So what I'm doing is I'm taking that chatterbait, I'm taking a Rapala DT Fat, that's what Kirk's been throwing, and a couple other baits, the Storm Subwort that we mentioned. And what we're doing is we're covering water, running from rock pile to rock pile. I've always said, the more odds you put in your favor as an angler, the better off you're gonna be. It's never magic. It's a systematic approach to being a successful angler. We're doing it here, you can do it too.
This segment of Hook and Hunt TV has been brought to you by these and other fine sponsors.
This was an exciting episode for us to film because we got to choose from so many different lures. But here's the ones that we keyed in on. And the first one I'm going is the chatterbait jackhammer. Now when it was overcast, I chose a darker color jackhammer. Now remember, the difference in the jackhammer chatterbait is that that blade actually bangs more off that head. It literally does sound like a rattle bait underwater. And on overcast, those smallmouth were really keying in on it. I went with a black or a black grape diesel minnow on the back. On overcast days, I like darker baits. This really fit the ticket. Now, when the sun stayed out, and sometimes it didn't set till around 9 o'clock at night, I went with a lighter chatterbait jackhammer. This is in, I think this is called the Bee Height Delight. Fantastic bait, man. The chartreuse really showed off good in the water, and it was a really good color when the sun was out. I don't think you need a lot of colors, but these two, without question, in a half ounce, were deadly. Fantastic, fantastic baits. Now, the other lures that we used a lot, we concentrated on, was we're gonna go back a little bit old school. And I love this bait. I've caught so many largemouth on it, but because of the water conditions that we were faced with in the depth, I thought I'd choose the old Storm Subwort. What a fantastic bait this really is. Now, from 1 to about 4 foot of water, when those smallmouth would move up in there, this just skimmed the surface. It goes anywhere from about 6 inches to a foot under the water, and those smallmouth were literally coming up to it. Fantastic bait. Now, this one seemed to work better again when the sun was out. On overcast, here's the one that both Kirk and I were throwing a little bit more, and Kirk really had a lot of success on it, and that's the Rapala DT Fat. Okay, with this square lip bait, it ricocheted off everything, puts off a wide wobble and a lot of vibration to it on overcast days. this one was a lot better. Again, if you notice, a little bit darker color on overcast, a little bit lighter color when it was sunny. Now, the line that we threw everything on, we're using a new Suffix Advanced fluorocarbon. On the crankbaits, I was throwing 12, and on the chatterbaits, I was throwing 17. The water was still a little bit clear, and I like throwing fluorocarbon on that. So, that's the equipment. That is the lures that we used on this. I'm telling you, pack some of these when you come up to Ontario and you fish at Century Lodge. We did great on them. You will too.
Good job, buddy. Good job. Oh, big fish, man.
Big fish.
Here.
Oh, nice job.
You smoked it.
Nice job, man. Oh, yeah, buddy.
There we go.
There you go, man.
Check that out. That's beautiful.
Nicely done.
Take a look.
Well, yeah, one thing that Kirk and I always do when we're going back over an area, and we had fished this just a little bit before, and I was throwing one color bait, whether it be crankbaits or whether it be chatterbaits like that, we always go back over with a different color. And when you're fishing with your partner, when you come up here, anywhere you go, never throw the same color until you guys figure out what's going on. We always go back over the area with a different color, and this time around, he switched up that color, and there's your result.
Sweet.
Nicely done, buddy. Nicely done.
Thanks.
All right, for the Angler's Workshop part of the show, I want to show you the two rods that we used in this episode, and actually they've become two of my favorites. You've seen this one on the show already, because I use it for so many different things. And this is a 7-foot medium heavy Bushido blank from American Tackle that I used. And like I said, you've seen this one before. I had it dipped in Prime 1 Camo. Of course, obviously, we're using a microwave guides. I've used this for a lot. I've used it for worm fishing. I've used it for throwing a big spinnerbait, throwing a chatterbait a long distance with that fast tip. This is absolutely a fantastic rod. So if you're building your own, especially bass fishing guys, look at that 7-foot medium heavy with a fast tip. So many things you can do with it. Now, this was an exciting rod for me to build because I do love throwing crankbaits, but I wanted something, well, that was going to be able to build a rod to throw anything from like a subboard type bait, which we used in the show, all the way down to a DT10. Well, I found it. This is a Bushido blank. This is a 7.2. What a great crankbait rod. It has more of a parabolic bend throughout the entire blank. What does that mean? It means that there's more give on this blank, and it's absolutely fantastic for crankbaits. I kept this one simple. I put the foam grips on here, and then I covered it with this grippy material right here that you actually use a heat gun to shrink on there. I actually shortened up the butt a little bit. It fits really good right here when I'm going to set a hook. Now, I kept the blank black, and I just put easy spiral wraps on here. Again, I'm using the newest of the microwave guide systems on here, and I kept it pretty much all black. Now, if you want to find out more about building your own rods, that's easy. Go to anglersworkshop.com. I'm going to say this on every episode. It is so easy for you to do it. Especially if you're on a budget, build your own rods. You can make it any way you want for about half the cost of a custom stick. I did it. So can you. Folks, I am telling you, look at that beautiful fish. You have got to get to Century Lodge. Go to centurylodge.com, or you can find them on the main page of hookandhunttv.com. Look at that beautiful smallmouth. Get up here, bring your friends, bring your family, and have the trip of a lifetime. You want big smallmouth? You come to Century Lodge. Let me put this fish back. Ah, see you, sweetie. Thank you so much. That was so awesome. Look at that. As I was saying, make sure you go to centurylodge.com. Call Randy, check him out, and make sure that you get your friends and your family up here. I was so excited after that. I know I'm repeating myself, but that really gets your heart pumping. Hey, thanks so much for joining this week. I hope you learned some cool stuff about pre-spawn smallmouth and how much fun it can truly be. We sure appreciate you being here. We're going to be on the road somewhere, someplace next week, hopefully with another great adventure. We'll look forward to seeing you soon. God bless you. I'm Jim Crowley. Take care.